It's time for Around the Ozarks Sports Scene, sponsored by Thompson Sales, Fast Break Sports, and The Pitch. Here's your host, Scott Purrier.
Welcome in to another edition of Around the Ozarks Sports Scene. I am Scott Purrier. As always, big thank you for tuning in this week as we talk sports. And we're going to talk some golf today. First of all, thank our big sponsors, Fast Break Sports, The Pitch Pizza and Pub, and Thompson Sales. And our guest today, Rob Marsh of the Price Cutter Charity Championship and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, has a special liking for Thompson Sales these days. They're a big part of what you're about to do in the next week or so, right?
That is correct. Thompson's came on board this year and is our official car sponsor, and they have a long history with the Price Cutter Charity Championship, and they're the proud sponsor of supplying our GMC Canyon truck that we've been doing the sweepstakes sales to raise money for charities, and they'll have lots and lots of their vehicles on display starting today out here at the tournament, and a good local company. And I'm also very fond of some of your other sponsors you got here. As you know, I've become a frequent customer of the Pitch now, and brought more people to them. So I believe in supporting people who support all of us, as you well know.
Well, that's awesome. And Thompson's, we'll talk about it at the end, but they're in their 160th year of business this month, and they've got a big sale going on. I just wonder if there'll be a sale the week after the Price Cutter Charity Championship about golf ball dented cars or anything like that. Or I'm sure that's a small price to pay for them to be a big sponsor out there.
Yeah, I should have made them guys give me some kind of commission if they sell anything from the tournament, Scott. I'll have to talk to Lynn and Miles and Tyler and all them. But excellent group, excellent family and company, like you said, 100. They're obviously doing something right to be around that long.
And 1919 they started.
Volumes,
absolutely.
Of the culture and everything. So,
well, people may be tuning in and going, Rob Marsh, that's the grocery guy. Well, not anymore. We had Rob on back in January. He had just started as the executive director and president of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame after a long career with Pyramid Foods, and that was the grocery business. And of course, Price Cutter, the primary sponsor of the Price Cutter Charity Championship since its inception, or
not? Just right after. I mean, they've been involved, as you know, for 28, 29 years. And because you remember, it was the Nike Tour. I think then it said presented by Consumers Food and Drug, if I remember correctly. And then Eric Taylor and the Price Cutter, Brad Beatty was involved in that. And they took over right after that. And as you know, the rest is history, as they say, because $20-some million has been, generated through the tournament since Price Cutter got involved. So again, speaks volumes of another local company that does a lot of things local.
Well, we're going to go through the schedule of next week's tournament and the events that have already happened and are coming up. For those who saw the first interview with Rob back in January, part of his duties with the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, as it has been with his predecessors, is serving as tournament director locally for the Price Cutter Charity Championship. And, there was a little bit of a healing period required for some of the sponsors. There was some misfortunate things that happened last year involving charity money. Rob came in, started the cleanup process in January, has done a fantastic job. And kind of just tell us 6 months in now how that has gone for you and adding sponsors for this year's tournament.
Sure. Well, it's actually, I guess July now we're starting my 7th month here, and Scott, to be honest, it's probably been the longest 7 months of my entire life, which it's been very rewarding. I knew what the challenge was, and I've said all along that the number one priority was to ensure that we somehow was able to operate very responsibly this year and get things back on track, and then in addition be able to generate the money to ensure that the charities were taken care of for everything in 2024. And we've made a sizable dent of what started out to be over $750,000. And as I sit here today, I am very confident in saying that all the charities will be made whole in 24. In addition, everything is back on track for 25. So I have an incredible team here at the Hall of Fame. I couldn't do this without them. They've been supportive of me, of a new guy, obviously coming in. Every new person that takes the helm has different ideas. And the 30 plus years in the grocery business, I have a strong cost control experience and negotiation. And I always took the mindset if I lost a $5,000 sponsor, then I had to somehow reduce the expenses $5,000 and manage our money throughout this. And I couldn't be happier where we sit today on July the 8th of where we're at and what's coming up. So.
Absolutely. Well, you've done a great job with that. And for those who aren't familiar with the event, it's the Price Cutter Charity Championship. It's an event on the Korn Ferry Tour. It started in Springfield, actually, this event in 1990 as the Ben Hogan Tour's Ozarks Open, and then went to Nike, I believe, probably 2 or 3 years later. But it's always been at Highland Springs Country Club. I believe it, and I've lost track of this, but it was one of the original. I guess there's 4 events remaining, or has that been reduced even more that were part of
No,
that?
I think it's from my understanding, it's either the only one that's been
Wow.
held at the same course on the entire tour, and I think there's only 2 or 3 with us that's have been the same tournament running this long. So it speaks volumes about the tournament and the way the community enjoys it here, Highland Springs, and the PGA just absolutely loves coming here. The players love coming here. They consider it a fun course. They score low, as you know. And like I said, I've been to some other tournaments, and I think Highland Springs presents it just as well as anything that I've seen so far on the Korn Ferry Tour.
I could still remember the inaugural event in 1990. Of course, I think Keith Stafford and Perry Leslie were instrumental in that, and Payne Stewart, made an appearance out there. The guy over my left shoulder, I guess that'd be my left shoulder there. As our local PGA Tour star, and hit the ground running with that, and great crowds and great support, and you've got businesses that have been a part of it for almost all of it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It is one of 26 events still on the Korn Ferry Tour. It is the 18th of 26 stops when they come in next week. This week they're in Colorado at the Ascendant, playing there in the higher altitude, and those guys will drive in. Some of them will be driving in earlier than they want to be. They'll be coming in Friday night or Saturday on their way here, but the rest of them will finish up Sunday in Colorado, make their way here, and then the tournament itself is again next Thursday through Sunday, July 17th to the 20th. I know nobody dares look at a weather forecast this early. Rob, have you peeked at it to see what the weather's like next week?
Well, it's funny you said that. I have once, and then I'm almost on purpose not, because I've lived here all my life. I know how there's no way that what they're saying today will happen next Thursday. So I've got enough to worry about and ensure, and we'll handle any challenges that come. But no, there's no way that I'm looking at it this early. I can see maybe Wednesday starting to either worry or think that we're okay. But I got a lot of great people around me, and the PGA knows what they're doing, and obviously, and like you said, it's coming quick. The head PGA rules official was supposed to have been here last night, had some flight issues, but he's going to be here today, and they're down there building the tournament as we speak, as skyboxes and generators, and it's been crazy. Even though I've been around this tournament for 30 years, being on this side of it is certainly a different look and approach of everything that has to happen behind the scenes. It's an impressive. can get overwhelming at times of all the moving parts, but so far we're looking really good. We're right on schedule and ready for the challenge.
Last year at this time or tournament time, you pretty much just had to show up on Sunday and give the check as
Yeah,
price cutter
that's
representative.
right. Yeah,
It's not that way anymore. You'll be busy during the week.
yeah.
You'll have a golf cart now, probably, which will be nice, instead of tooling around on foot. But how much have you relied on the likes of Gerald Andrews, who did this tournament and your job for so many years? Now, I'm sure you went to him a lot originally just on the events, the various luncheons and banquets that
Mhm.
you guys have, but this is the big enchilada every year that all eyes are on Highland Springs for a week. Has Gerald been pretty valuable to you? Have there been a few phone calls, I guess, in the last
Yeah,
couple of weeks?
I could take this entire show and tell you all the ways that he has helped me. Gerald and I speak, check in with each other weekly, text, phone calls. Obviously, he's getting to enjoy some time. He's already played in a couple of our pro-ams. He played in the Golfing for Justice that we just had this past Monday at Millwood. And it's funny, I actually walked up to him, and when I said hi originally, I said, well, now you get to enjoy, the golf piece of it, because he did so well in his tenure here. So yeah, Scott, I couldn't tell you all the ways that he's helped me, and I know he's a phone call away. And I've tried not to drag him into things too awful much, because he's done his time, and he's enjoying life and his family a little bit more, which he deserves. But been invaluable to me. He wrote the book on this tournament. I don't think anybody would deny that, and paved the way to the 20-some million dollars. And obviously we already had a great relationship because we had done so much, like you said, with the luncheons, and I can't count how many I've been to. But then my first one, I was very nervous. Like, man, there's a lot of things that have to happen behind the scenes, and I think we've done well with it. And like I said, it's because of the team that's been here. We enjoy each other. We laugh. We haven't cried yet, but I think that'll happen before the next 10 days is over with. But they take a lot of pride, and they wanted to see this thing through, and they believed in me day one, and we're getting it done, Scott. I couldn't be prouder of them.
What how would you define your role next week? Because obviously you're the guy on site, like at Millwood for the tournament Monday, and then tonight we're taping this on Wednesday. It'll come out at midnight tonight. But tonight you've got a night golf event sponsored by Hertz Donuts out of Fremont Hills. You're the guy on site at those. But when the PGA Tour comes in, of course, the PGA Tour is the parent company of the Korn Ferry Tour. What does your role switch to during tournament week?
Well, yeah, you're right. Right now, it's crazy of all the tournaments that we have going on. Like you mentioned, we have the Hertz Donut Nighttime Classic tonight. Tomorrow, we're on the course, coordinating a lot of different things going on down there at Highland Springs, and then Friday we have our Integrity Pro-Am all day long, and then we have our Ultimate Banquet Friday night, which the Ultimate, as you know, is the chance to win a 2026 Corvette. So we're giving a Corvette away this Friday night. We've sold out of that event, and which was very encouraging. And then the sponsors reception that we had at Big Shots a couple weeks ago, Scott, they had a record attendance for that night, and I think that speaks volumes. And we were very encouraged about that. But and then be out here at the tournament all this weekend with the PGA, ensuring that everything is being placed right, and talk about next week's schedule. And then Monday we kick off with another SRC Pro-Am. Tuesday we have the Silver Dollar City Pro-Am, the Women's Pro-Am, and then we have to hustle back and get everything set up for the big golf ball pairings party auction on Tuesday night. And then we have to finish that up and then come back for the Champions Pro-Am presented by Ozarks Coca-Cola on Wednesday. And I'm told that once you get through Wednesday, that the next 4 days are a breeze.
Yeah.
And that's I keep being told that. That's hard for me to believe. And I hope it's true, but I have been told by several people, including Mr. Andrews, once you make it to Thursday, you're all good. And
Except when it rains 8 inches on
yeah,
Thursday
yeah.
in 40 minutes,
So,
and they're like, "Where's this? Where's this? Where's
yeah,
this?"
exactly. And the evacuation plan and all that kind of
Yeah,
things. But
yeah.
it's definitely been eye-opening, and I wouldn't pretend to say that I know everything, but I observe a lot. I've been reading a lot of things, and obviously there's a lot of good files here at the Hall of Fame that I've relied on from the past, and everything is on schedule and on plan. So Scott, fingers crossed.
What will people, i.e., fans and sponsors, notice differently maybe this year about the tournament as opposed to last year or the years before?
You know, aesthetically, I don't think they're going to see much difference. One of my, well, like I said, as I alluded to earlier, you know, I immediately had to get costs under control, because that's, you know, to speak about last year, they put on an absolutely outstanding tournament, and it looked incredible, but at the end of the day, as you know, everything comes with a cost. And you've got to have the revenue to cover the cost, and so I have spent a lion's share of time of negotiating and lowering the cost of putting the tournament on, but still being able to provide that look, and that's some of the experience that I think I have brought, is the negotiations. Over the last 30 years, that I have a pretty good idea on what things should cost and where I think somebody's out of line on. And I remind these vendors and all that, again, that this is a charity tournament. You know, this is not to make the Hall of Fame rich, or to make, you know, to line people's pockets or the sponsors. It's for the charities. So I've made a lot of them be a part of that and absorb some of that cost. And but I think somebody walking out to the tournament, Scott, other than the food tent's going to be located in the parking lot of where it was for 20 some years, but I don't think that they'll really see much difference. And I mean that, but the difference has been on the cost of the tournament, that I have got everything back under control, and everything looks to be coming in exactly where I wanted it to be. And that's, again, credit to the community that have rallied around me, and I've got a lot of people to prove otherwise. Obviously, as you know, with what did come out, I had a lot of people drop and have doubts and say that it's over, and that's not the case at all. So I took it as a challenge as well, that I'm going to prove a lot of people wrong, and I'll remember who told me no, and that who stuck with me, you know.
How many charities will benefit this year?
We're up to in the high 30s, Scott, which I'm very proud of. And we had a committee meeting last night here at the Hall of Fame, and we had a great attendance. And then we also had a big round of applause that I've been sharing numbers with them, and being transparent through this journey, and it was a proud moment. You know, I gave the credit to the team that was in the meeting as well. And I told every single one of them that their loyalty to me and the team here meant more than they know, and I won't forget it. So.
Now, you did mention, I mean, we talked about Thompson Sales, that there is another raffle. I mean, you can't win a Corvette because that's sold out, but the GMC Canyon pickup at Thompson Sales has helped you with that. Talk about that raffle, and people, I assume, can buy tickets all the way up till Sunday. Is that right?
They can. We'll give the truck away on Sunday, and we sell the tickets up here at the Hall of Fame, or there's obviously all the charities, but for for $25, you can, and then if you haven't seen this truck, it's an absolutely beautiful truck. It is a GMC Canyon. The thing is loaded inside and out, and Thompson's really did a number on that one. And I think the truck, once you see it, it's been the sales have went well. The charities are doing really well with it, but yeah, and you can buy. I mean, even out at the tournament starting next Thursday, you can buy tickets and again, and then Thompson's will have plenty of their other vehicles out here for sale, and they're always wheeling and dealing, as you know. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have a salesman standing by each one of them. And again, great partnership, as we said, great family, and then you can talk about Price Cutter again, just continues to step up. Highland Dairy is our new presenting sponsor this year, which is new for the tournament. Again, great long time, 20+ year partner of the tournament, stepped up. Ozarks Coca-Cola continues with their product and their cash and their sponsorship, and it sure helped me having a lot of these relationships, Scott. I wouldn't lie to you that I have met obviously a lot of new people that I hadn't dealt with, but I've also dealt with a lot of people over the last 30 years. And that's what I always tell people too, is you make sure you're always honest in your dealings. And I tell my children that your reputation could either help you or come back to haunt you, as you know. And those guys have always know that I've been fair with them and good with them, and that helped me along this 7-month journey so far.
And the GMC Canyon truck will be raffled off on the 18th green after the tournament, correct? And
That's correct.
I believe you don't have to be present to win, right?
That's correct. On the ticket, you can put an authorized representative, and a lot of them just do either the charity name, or a lot of people have put my name because they obviously know that I'll be there.
Yeah.
And but you don't have to be present to win. Like you said, it goes to charity. It's a $25 chance of winning a $50,000 truck. And then there's also a drawing that for that same $25, you're also in the drawing to win $10,000 cash.
Oh, nice.
So not a bad ROI on your $25.
Exactly. Let's talk about tickets. What is the plan this year? I know that Thursday and Friday in the history of tournaments, some days have been free, some days have been a charge. What is the ticket situation for the 4 days?
The daily badges are $10, and then also I think it's important to mention if they do buy the $25 raffle ticket, Scott, that gets you 4-day admission to the tournament.
Oh, nice.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that, but again, you're 1 in 8,000 odds. You're 1 in 20 odds of winning a value of anything $25 and over. I mean, there's all kinds of gift certificates and stuff that people have donated. And then, like I said, it also gives you a 4-day admission to the tournament. So it's almost, why wouldn't you buy one, even if you don't like, or you don't need a truck, or you don't, I don't know how many people keep these or sell the vets, or, but it's yours to do whatever you with. And again, a pretty good ROI. But Friday is free admission, to answer your question. But there's daily tickets for $10 and all the way up to the Ozarks Club badge, which I got to plug Springfield Grocery Company as a huge presenter for our hospitality tent. And those club badges get you, food and drink and everything around the tournament. So again, so many people, as you know, come together to make this thing happen. And I could sit here all day and thank them, and I wish I had time to, but I hope to see everybody out here. As you've been out here, I know these guys are really, really good, and it's really, really fun to watch them. And it's been really neat for me to learn some of their stories. Scott, some of these guys literally live in their cars and are chasing this dream of making and earning their tour card, and they just drive and hopefully to make enough to cover their expenses on the next trip. And And you got to give them credit. They're trying to chase this dream they have, but you got to be really good or really lucky, I guess, one of the two.
Yeah, and of course, it's $1 million purse total for this event, and I believe maybe 28 million on the tour as a
Yes.
whole over 26 events this year. I know in the past that the field typically is finalized on Friday, I believe, the week before,
Yes.
as to who will be teeing it up on the following Thursday here. But there's also Monday qualifying again at Millwood. Do we know how many spots are available yet, or is that still to be determined?
Well, it's actually both at the qualifiers at Millwood and River Cut
Oh, okay.
on
Okay.
Monday. And I think they're expecting close to 100 players at each course on Monday. And I hear that's really competitive. And I hear that they don't get a choice. They don't know where exactly they're going to be playing yet.
Okay.
But both are really nice courses, as you're well aware. And um,
And very different courses too. So I mean, it's
they're,
kind of
yeah,
luck of the draw,
I
which
don't
plays.
know who would have the advantage. I was when we were over at Millwood the other day at our pro-am, I was talking to Chris Obert, the pro over there and golf pro, and he was the same way. I don't know who would have the advantage if you had to pick, but you got a lot of guys spending their hard-earned money at this last shot of trying to get into this tournament. And then as a tournament director, I have 4 exemptions, Scott, that I can give away. 2 of them are what they call restricted, and 2 are unrestricted. The unrestricted, I gave it to a local. Well, he's not a kid; he's a young adult chip shepherd, and something about his story. I met with him personally and talked with him, and it's been his lifelong dream. He has
That's
a
Nick
baby
Shepard,
due.
right? Nick
Pardon?
Shepard. Nick
Yeah,
Shepard.
Nick Shepard's. Yes,
Yeah.
Chip's his dad. Did I say
Yeah.
Chip?
Yeah.
Nick Shepard, and incredible family. He's got a baby due any day, and which is really kind of a neat story. And God willing, I hope she has it before the tournament starts.
Yeah.
And but I had a conversation with his wife as well and his family, and he has been practicing and working hard, and he's got family coming up from Texas and other places in the United States to come follow him, and which is really neat. And then we also gave our other one to a Nate Angus, who's been playing really hard and playing really well lately, and then the restricted spot, Scott, has been kind of crazy that everybody I keep picking has been playing well as of late, and they've earned their spot, so they don't need an exemption.
They don't have to qualify.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I walked in this morning to another one that said, well, your gentleman played well last week. He doesn't need an exemption, Rob. You need to pick another one. So when we get off here, I've got to go back into my files and find somebody else. And I probably had 60 guys apply, Scott, and every one of them has a great story and a dream, and it's really hard to choose, as you can imagine, of who you want to bless that with. And but I'm also happy that these guys are playing well, that they don't need my exemption anymore. So good for them. And so I've got to find somebody else today, but I think this will be my 4th or 5th one that I've had to pick.
Wow. Well, that's good luck for those guys. I mean,
It
yeah,
is.
say pick me, so then I don't have to be picked here in
That's
about 2
exactly
days.
right.
So, yeah. People will ask, who are these guys? And again, I've been to almost all these since 1990. These are, for the most part, it's almost a AAA level minor league of the PGA Tour. These guys are really good. There's a missed putt here, a missed fairway there. It generally separates guys from, being on the PGA Tour versus being on the Korn Ferry Tour the next year. And the way it's set up now, they don't call it a money list anymore. It's a points list. And the top 30 finishers on that points list over the season, plus I believe the top 30 in their final championship event, earn some type of PGA Tour status for next year. The leading money winner right now is a guy named Austin Smotherman. He's a former SMU golfer. He's a California native. He's won 568,000 this year. He's got a couple victories, and also finished in the top 10 5 times. He actually was on the Korn Ferry Tour, and this is a common story for a lot of them. He was a Korn Ferry Tour player back in 2019 through, I believe, 21 or 22, and then was on the PGA Tour for the next couple of years. Now he's back on the Korn Ferry Tour. So just like a player in Major League Baseball can be sent to AAA to work out the kinks, Jordan Walker would be an example with the Cardinals of that. And haven't quite worked all those out yet, but then they come back and they're a better version. And so a couple other notes, the 2023 champion of this event in Springfield, Pearson Coody, is actually number 5 on the points list this year, and he leads the tour with 6 top 10 finishes. He's finished, he actually will finish in the top 30 more than likely and be out there next year on the tour. Defending champion Mac McCarty, who won last year, has made 11 of 19 cuts and has 6 top 25 finishes on the PGA Tour this year. He tied for 4th in the Canadian Open last month and then tied for 14th with a 3 under par score in the Masters. So great representation. He's 27. He's a former Santa Clara standout. He's made $1.5 million on the PGA Tour. He's 78th on the money list out there this year. He and Coody are kind of what you really kind of hope for in a champion at the Price Cutter Charity Championship.
Yeah.
A guy that you can say, just like watching the Springfield Cardinals, somebody you can say, I saw that guy when he was here when they go on to big things. And that's the great allure for fans, isn't it, Rob?
Well, that's where some of those, you can imagine, I've been blessed that I was able to hand them the trophy.
Yeah.
And have a lot of good memories and pictures with them. And the Austin gentleman that you were just referring to, it was announced yesterday that he officially got his tour card.
Nice. So he's accumulated enough points to where he's automatically going to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he's headed back to the big time, but yeah, you've read off some great names, and like I said, I've been fortunate and blessed to be able to hand them the trophy. That some of them that put them over the edge to go to the tour card. So, and it's these guys are grinding it, and even though like you said, it is the minor league, they're really good.
Yeah.
And then it almost makes it scary to realize how good, if these guys are that good, how good are the guys on the PGA Tour? You don't really realize the skill level that they have and how they do some of the things they do with the club. It's fun to watch for sure.
Absolutely. And this tournament, the last 2 winners have shot 25 under for the 72 holes. You had a 27 and a 28 a couple years before that under. Does the PGA Tour, do they like it the way it is, where it's just a birdie fest, or do they want to try to come in and toughen it up? What's that discussion like now? Because they're kind of at the mercy of the weather. I mean, if we have 100-degree temperatures, they don't want to burn the course up by making it faster too.
No, they actually do not like the low scores. In fact, they had a guy come in about a month ago and walk the course, and he provides a report to myself and Highland Springs of how he kind of graded the course and things that they would like to do. And I think if it was up to them, they'd have the rough and about 2 feet of grass.
Yeah.
And where it's extremely hard for, if you hit it in the rough, you're in trouble. And now, like I said, players love playing here because they shoot those 25 to 28 under, and the fans like that as well, as you know.
Yeah.
And birdies bring applause and everything else. But as far as the tour, they're constantly pushing Highland of whatever can be done to make it a little bit tougher. And Highland does a pretty, to us, we see the rough right now and it's like, oh my gosh, but these guys know how to, when they get in trouble, they know how to get out of the trouble. But it is funny. The fans and the players like the low scores, but the PGA constantly wants it tougher.
Well, and the tour understands too that 51 weeks a year, there's Highland Springs members that pay pretty good money to be a member. They don't like 2 foot rough. The weather dictates too. I mean, surely the thing Highland Springs suffers from a little bit is it's almost too nice. The fairways are perfect. The greens are perfect. And these guys, when they get perfect and they can spin it off those fairways and every putt rolls true, they're going to shoot 25 to 30 under. And so it's kind of defenseless. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, I saw on the website for the tournament that there's a nice, is it a veterans and first responders tent just off the 9th green? Is that correct? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. I wanted to speak. I'm glad you brought that up. We are continuing on with our honoring our heroes tent, and that has been was a great addition to the tournament. And this year we also introduced the PGA Folds of Honor Friday, Scott, that we'll have on the green on Friday morning. We're going to have bagpipes and several military members there, and the PGA brought this to me. We discussed it. They've done it on other tours in other locations and tournaments, but Springfield has never had it. So I jumped on it. I reached out to the guys at Pinnacle Sign Group. They stepped up and they wanted to be the presenting sponsor of that. So we'll have their team out here on the Friday morning with several other military and a special ceremony. And like I said, and who doesn't love bagpipes? There's nothing better than listening, as you know, to bagpipes. To me, it's like I'm more excited about that than anything once that guy confirmed. And but one day I hope I want to pull a flyover, Scott. I want to somehow get that accomplished, and I've gotten the contacts now to start putting that in motion for next year, because I think that'd be really neat to have a flyover during that ceremony.
And you do have a little bit of an edge because you've been out there all these years as a sponsor, but I would assume your role this year is a little bit like Patrick Ransdale, the new athletic director at Missouri State, who spent a large part of this year watching and observing and thinking of ways that he could tweak things or do them differently or better. Is that kind of your approach next week? Is a lot of observation and then say, I got a year now to figure out, let's do this?
Yeah, it has been since day one, that I wanted to break everything down, so to speak, and what has, what worked, what has worked in the past, some things run its course, as and some things need to, be changed, dropped, and so I've been every minute I could, I've studied and watched events, and then the team and I have come back and met and kind of recapped. This went really well. Didn't like how this went, as you always should do with any project, and like I said, I'm anxious for these next few days to watch it come together and then make notes on, I think this ought to be over here. And the PGA I couldn't have asked also for the support that they've given me so far in these 7 months. I have had a call with the PGA every single week since I started this job. And they have been absolutely incredible to me. And then we're going to sit down after we take a breath after the tournament and recap everything and see what does this tournament look like in the future. I mean, there is absolutely going to be some changes that I think need to be made. And some of them I wanted to try to get done this year, but just frankly ran out of time. It's been a fast 7 months. And as you know, in addition to this tournament, we're also running several events to the Hall of Fame schedule. And I added 4 events to the Hall of Fame schedule to make sure that we had the revenue that we needed. And so we have not had time to breathe, and we're relying on a lot of coffee, as you can imagine. But I'm used to this. The grocery business has always been a grinding, long hours, 6-7 days a week. So it's funny. The team said, "You don't realize how much work this is," and I promise you, I'll be right with you. Don't worry about me. And now they're a believer that I'm with them when we're walking around with a trash bag after an event, cleaning up but yeah, there's to bring it back around, we're absolutely going to sit back down, recap, and the PGA has some ideas of what they want to do, and I have some ideas, and the fortunate thing is, as you probably heard or we talked about, Price Cutter and Highland Dairy signed a 5-year extension to keep this tournament with the PGA, a minimum of another 5 years. So when you have that already in your pocket, that makes you rest a little bit easier at night, knowing that the big sponsors are with me, and I have no doubt when we prove the doubters wrong this year, I'm going to have an even better year next year. And I always tell the team, the sponsors have to, we have to use their money wisely and make sure that they get the exposure that they deserve. It's business. I totally get it. That they spend money to bring exposure to your brand, and we need to make sure that we deliver that, in addition to not forgetting the whole purpose of the tournament, and that's to provide the funds that the charity needs to continue to operate throughout the year.
Very good, Rob. Well, I know you've got some golfers to pick that are anxiously
Yes.
waiting a call from you to get to tee it up in the Price Cutter Charity Championship. Thank you for your time, and we'll catch up with you on more hall events later on in the year, okay?
Yep. Scott, I always appreciate you and the time and the friendship and everything. You've been great and a great supporter, and you could have anybody on your show, I know, at any time. So I'm honored to be here. And if you need anything throughout the tournament, or if you're here for any other friends, let me know, and I'll make sure we take care of everybody.
Very good, Rob. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Scott.
You bet. Rob Marsh, the executive director of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame and president of the Hall of Fame, who also tournament director locally for the Price Cutter Charity Championship, a Korn Ferry Tour event coming next week to Highland Springs Country Club. Want to thank our sponsors, of course, the Pitch Pizza and Pub, your place to go for pizza, calzones, lunch or dinner. Their appetizers are awesome. They've got a great meeting space there for your networking events or special events. Give Brian Bevel and his team a call today. They're in the Southern Hills Shopping Center off of East Sunshine, right there in the middle of the shopping center that's been completely redone and looks great there. So the Pitch Pizza and Pub, we appreciate them. Fast Break Sports, we were there last week taping our episode with Sebastian Norman, the Glendale baseball player who's got the Major League Baseball draft coming up next week. And if things don't go well, he'll be at Oklahoma State in the fall. But Fast Break Sports, 3109 South Campbell. They are your home for all things sports cards, collectibles, and memorabilia. Great place to finish off your man cave for the upcoming college and NFL football seasons. They are Fast Break Sports. They got the latest Topps series cards coming out now, so run by and see the guys and see what they've got. And if you need supplies to protect those cards, nowhere better than Fast Break Sports. And lastly, we talked a lot about Thompson Sales, one of the primary sponsors for the PCCC next week. They are at 1555 East Independence. They're your home for new and used Buick, Cadillac, and GMC cars and trucks. They're an award-winning service center, all at Thompson Sales, where the Thompson boys have been dealing since 1919. Give them a look on their website and go out and check out the lot, because they've got their 106-year anniversary special going on this month. Again, our thanks to Rob Marsh, and thanks to you for listening. We will see you next week on Around the Ozarks Sports Scene.